Hello everybody, welcome back to the ZHP Garage. Hope you guys are all doing well. And what do you got to say?
Welcome back, people.
So it's been a while since we have done a video on the Nova, and it's just because it's been small, little miscellaneous stuff that's not too exciting to show on video. But we're going to show a little bit of the things that we've been doing in the past, month?
Years. We're going to give a little rundown.
The past years. We're going to be describing the whole history of the car in this episode.
Since 65.
Start by showing the little miscellaneous stuff we've done in the engine and stuff inside the car. And then later on we're going to take apart the front suspension, a couple other stuff. So let's get into it right now. What do you got?
Come check it out. Look at this. So we got the engines all done here. We took care of all the little miscellaneous. The only thing we need to do is the wiring. But as you can see, we're going to have to change the injectors when we do the harness. So we got to get that ordered up because we changed the injector size. But other than the harness, this thing is all done. We got the tranny mount, nice urethane mount, so when we put it in next time, we can get the cross member all straightened out when we get the subframe or the front subframe back. So this tamper intake is a little interesting. There's ports on the bottom here. There's just a pipe fitting. So I have one for the PCV, the suction, and then I had to put the little oil pressure center at a 90 to get to clear the intake. Well, one thing about the intake is it doesn't have a provision for a map sensor, which is a little interesting. So the only place thick enough that I was able to add it is the front here. So I added the map sensor here in the front. So I had to drill and tap both of that, the mounting bolt and the bolt for the sensor to go through. So that was a little interesting why fuel injected intake doesn't come with a map sensor provision. Injectors on it, regulator and everything. We've got the return and feedback here. So it's going to be going to the firewall like I showed before. We got the AC compressor fully mounted up. This bolt was the only one that was in it before. These are all studs. I tried to get the factory ones, but they discontinued them. So I made them all studs. And then I don't know if you remember that I couldn't get this bolt in there, so I had to get a socket cap Allen headed bolt for right here, and I actually still had to sand the edge of it. You probably can't see it. Barely see light past the compressor. And then on this mount, because the compressor's so close, I had to weld the nut into the mount, so I had to deal with that. So this is all done. So I got the mount done. I got the crossover on it here for the coolant steam. A braided -6 off of the steam port here over to the radiator. Breathers, so the valve cover and the valley are going to tee together, and they're going to go to this breather tank. It's going to be on the inner fender probably somewhere over here. So that's the miscellaneous stuff. We did the engine to get it complete, which is really nice. It's all finished. And then some of the stuff on the car that I've been dealing with, slave cylinder for one, the angle of it. This is kind of like a Ford Ranger, Mazda B3000 pickup truck kind of style, way it's at an angle. And it's a really pain to bleed these because you can get an air pocket up here in the top. You got to level them out. So you got to unbolt it when you go to bleed it to get the air pocket out of it. So they're kind of a pain. So I'm going to try to straighten this out a little bit. I'm going to heat this bracket up and bend it a little bit more to straighten it a little bit more to try to get a little more level. I added the bolts down here for this bracket, and then I went to put the master cylinder back on, and then this one here was hitting, so I had to notch that. Nothing bolts on as much as people think. So we got the PCM mounted here underneath the dash, and then I was working on the clutch pedal. I had to move where the rod meets. It was up here higher. Clutch pedals are down a little bit. I need to adjust it. It's going to come up a hair. So then I lowered the brake pedal because if you remember before. So the two pedals are pretty much done. I got to adjust the bracket for the slave to straighten out the shaft a little bit. So next I'm going to be mounting the Mother May I Go pedal. So that's pretty much the highlight of the stuff, little odds and ends I've been doing. So now we're going to strip this front suspension, steering, everything down, and then we're going to take it off and go to powder coat. No more candy color. So let's get started on that. So half of this stuff is just sitting here, like this caliper is just on here hand tight. When we got this was all together, so I don't know how together. Doesn't seem like it's very together because I think it was a display. Let's strip this thing down. We're gonna get this thing ready for powder coat.
Brake line. Steering shaft U-joint. Steering shaft. Brake lines. Brake rotor and spindle, driver's side. Driver's side suspension brace. Driver's side coilover shock. Kablam.
So here it is in all of its glory. We got it all apart. It's a good thing we took it apart because this was just assembled. I'm pretty sure this was just a display model and they didn't use any lube or anything. Everything was dry. So where these adjustment pins go through, the upper part right here, they're pretty much, I had to give them a little massaging, a little help coming out. They're got a little water in there, a little rusted up. So it's a good thing. I'm gonna take apart the rotors too and make sure that the wheel bearings are packed. I'm pretty sure they sound kind of dry. They don't feel like they've been, I don't think they've been packed. Good thing, we'll lube everything as it goes together and get it all. So we're gonna take this off to powder coat.
It takes 2 weeks for the powder coater to powder coat anything right now. The one that's in our area at least. Basically it gives us 2 weeks to get the passenger side floor finished and then the passenger side tub. So we're gonna shoot for that. We're gonna try and get that finished. So can't really start right now. It's like 9 o'clock at night. We don't want to be making nice music for the neighbors. So we're gonna come back next day. We're gonna get to cutting.
Be like a chainsaw.
A what?
Chainsaw. All right, so we're back. It's been a couple days. We got the front end off like we showed. I want to get this other floor in. This is the passenger side. I have the driver's side in it, but if you see, so it has these parts, these braces that go into the floor. I drilled holes in it so I could do a spot weld. So I think this goes right about here or so. And then it has the pieces for the seat belt. So one will go here underneath. That needs to be welded in, and then one on this side for the seat belt, and then these braces. So when I go to cut out the passenger side of the floor, I can't just cut it because I got to use these braces over again. The new floor didn't come with it. So I got to do it in sections, and then I got to drill these out and get this separated from the original floor. And then along the side here, it's spot welded to the rocker panel. So I pry it apart. I think it's an easier way than trying to drill out all the spot welds. So I pry that off. So I can't just go, so if you see me going in sections, that's why I'm making sure not to cut these in half. So I got to cut the rest of the floor off. There's one of those pieces right there for the seat belt. That's what I was talking about underneath. So I'm gonna save this. This gets reused, surprising as that sounds. We're gonna reuse this guy, but it's easier to put the floor in first and then line that up with the floor instead of trying to line up 3 angles at a time. I just worry about the rocker panel and then the back here. And then I'll put this in after the fact. So we're just gonna cut this here, get this separated, the back part of the tunnel out of the way, and then after we get the floors in it, the tunnel back in it, then we'll set the engine and tranny in it, and then we'll get the all set up after the fact. Another reason why I want to get this floor out of the way, other than we need to replace it, is that I don't want to lay in this as I'm mounting the HVAC box. So once I have this cut out, then I could just be on the floor, kneeling down. And I don't have to lay on this in order to mount the box. So that's what so once the floor's out, I'm gonna mount the box, get all the brackets and everything welded up in there, and then I'm gonna put the floor back in. So while it's out, I'm gonna take advantage of not having to lay in filth. Pretty much gonna mimic that side. I'll just follow this line and I'll stay down lower. So I'll have room to trim it, kind of fudge a little bit right here, you can see already. Kind of got a little carried away. So get your little snack and sit down for the show.
All right, there you have it. The passenger side floor is fully cut out. And now we have a full-on race car. Flintstone race car. I think this car weighs about enough for 5 people to pick it up. I think a good 3 people in the back and probably 2 people in the front can pick this whole entire thing up. So how you thinking? How you thinking right now?
Pretty good. A couple things got a little more damage than that side, but it's all fixable.
For those of you that have been following along video by video, if you remember back when we took this thing apart, I said something about, you know, I can't even remember. I'm gonna roll the clip right now. So it smells a mix of old car and like raining. It smell, you know the smell when it's raining outside? That's what it smells like right now inside. So from whatever I said, it doesn't smell like that anymore. It smells just like straight metal. It smells like we cut a whole entire floor out of this Nova. Yeah, isn't that insane?
That's nuts.
Is it?
Who would think it?
Isn't that insane? I don't know why I would think that, but so I guess it's a good thing it doesn't smell like raining. It doesn't even smell like old car. It just smells like metal and dirt. And then the master mechanic says,
God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt. We're gonna get the box mounted, HVAC box, and then we'll get the holes put in. But once we get all the holes for the 2 lines AC and the 2 heater, then we'll get the firewall painted, get it all cleaned up. When you come back, we're gonna be working on the tubs and the block off plate for the trunk. We're gonna do an aluminum panel. So when we put the sound dent, we can put sound denting on it to separate the trunk and the exhaust noise, road noise. We're gonna sound dent in the car. So check out the floor here, see how it turned out. Kind of slipped a little bit in a couple spots. I cut this a little bit, but once I get it out, I'll just fix that. I'll just do a little weld on it, fix that back up. Normally there's a piece about I don't know 4 inches wide or so that comes across the floor here for your feet to rest on, and this one was pretty bad, pretty rotten out. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I wound up just cutting it all out because it wasn't really savable. So I got to add that in. But other than that, the frame rails, the subframe rails, or the unibody rails, are a little beat up from over the years. People bought them in and out, so I'm going to straighten that a little bit, beat that back down now that I get to the top of it. So yeah, so I'll have the box mounted, we'll have the floor put back in it, and then we're going to get started on the tubs when you come back. It's a little messy when you deal with these nasty floors. So we just happen to have the suspension sitting underneath the car, but it's not painted yet or nothing. So we're going to clean this disaster up. This is the original cross member. It's all nasty. We're going to throw that guy away. It's getting trashed also. So we're going to clean up our mess here. Get ready for the next step.
all right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video of us cutting out the passenger side floor on the Nova. What do you got, man?
I got no floor.
You got no
floor. Come back. Come back next time. I'll have me a floor.
Well, since we got no floor, we're going to work on having a floor. Well, we got a floor. We just need to work on getting that floor in the floor so we have a floor.
Whole bunch of floor going on. I'm really floored.
I hope you guys are floored. If you're really floored, go check out some other videos we have right here.
This one right there. Come on back now, you hear?
Yep. See you next time.